This example is to provide a solution for the use case of adding and removing features. So first I've got a couple points here. I'm going to add a couple more, or at least one more, and then we'll use the loop process that's already been defined and talked about here, but we'll run that loop process and then I'll remove some features using another process. But first we'll loop through and add 3 spheres. So I've got 3 points and now I have 3 spheres, and I'll just add maybe a couple more points here, and then we'll populate a few more spheres. So now I've got 6 points and I have 3 spheres. So if I run the loop again, hopefully I only end up with 6 spheres total. So now I have 6 points and I have 6 spheres. So I think that worked pretty successfully, where I'm not duplicating. I'm actually looking at if a point has a child already, to skip it. If it doesn't have a child, then populate it. So the next thing I want to do is I want to remove some points. I want to remove, say, maybe this point 18, and then it should remove its associated sphere, or its dependent sphere here. So there's a dependency. This sphere is dependent on that point. In fact, if I try to just delete it interactively, and I don't delete the children, I can see that that sphere goes into it has an update problem now because its parent is gone. So let's undo that and make that good again. Okay, so that's what my application is now going to do. It's going to remove point 18, and then it's going to find what's in error, and then it's going to remove whatever's in error as well. So let's run that. So remove last point. So I removed the last point, and it removed the related sphere, or the dependent sphere. So let's look at the BKT application. First thing I'm doing is I'm getting a list of all the points. And in this case I get a list of all the points, but I'm only getting the last point, and I'm sending that to object out. So we can take a quick look here. I'm doing a query for all points. The result of that is a list. I'm getting the size of the list, so that gives me the last value. So in this case there's six points, so I is going to be 6, and I'm assigning that point, the last point, to this temporary point, and then finally I'm assigning that point to this object out. So from object out, I'm sending object out to this little VB script that I have. I'm sending it to object in. And if we look at the contents of that script, you can see here's object in, and I'm sending, and then I'm finally picking that and selecting it and deleting that object. So the next thing we have to do is we have to find out what is in error, and since I'm only deleting 1 point in my process here, I'm using the find to get the geometric feature that is in error. So it just finds the first geometric feature that has an error, and it's sending that feature to this feature out. So here's my feature out, and I'm sending feature out to the object in. It's the same script that we just looked at, so we'll double click on this one just to verify. But here it is again. We're using the object in, and we're using selection and to delete it. So that's the whole thing.